This is the second time I've had to do this audio, so let's get into it. Who are the Walkers of the Storm instead of who is, because this is my team-centric book. It is a team that's been together for a while and is now falling apart. And you'll find out all about that as you read the audiobook series. The leader is a dark elf by the name of Grimrose Reaverthorn. And before we get into her, no, my dark elves are not drow. They do not worship spiders. They do have gray skin. They do have pointed ears. They live in petrified forests, not underground. They protect the heart of the oldest part of all forests, which is the heart of a forest. Grimrose is what's called a necrotic knight. No, she's not a shadow knight from EverQuest, but she is a necrotic knight, and she uses decay magic, which is kind of different than raising the dead and acting like a necromancer. She doesn't deal with the undead at all, she just deals with decay, and you'll understand as the story progresses just what she can do. Pardon me. Basically, the whole of my book series, all of them are, these characters are already established. They know what they can do. It's time for you guys to see what they can do. And Grimrose she is a former general, and she likes teamwork, and her military background harkens to she's got to surround herself with people who can get stuff done. Unfortunately, she's dealing with a team of individuals rather than a military background. So she's kind of like, when she first got this group together, there were a lot of rough edges, and that's kind of rubbed everybody the wrong way as the years went on, because she hasn't gotten lax on it. She's a dual-wielding expert. She uses two swords, which she calls scythes, and they don't look like scythes, but they are dark gray in color and have been fitted with magic very similar to her necrotic magic. She's been the leader for quite some time, and you're stepping into the story pretty much at the end of the team's existence, as it were. There's one final push for them to stay together, and you'll find out exactly what that is as the story gets on. You got a little glimpse at it with the prelude, but there's more to come on that, and it'll take quite a bit of time to tell the story. There's also Jormungandr, who is the former dragon god of destruction. He's now the dragon god of loyalty, and his would-be the love of his existence, Kamara. And Kamara will sound familiar because she's the gunslinger that refused to go to Usher and help out Freya. That's because the love of her existence, Yorm, reappeared. And she's like, we need to find replacements for us because we want to move on with our life and not be surrounded by the negativity that this is this team. And you'll see what they mean by that when you get to see them. They're my quintessential couple. They can't be broken up. They are always going to be at each other's side. And I know a lot of people are going to go, oh, but that doesn't make sense from a writing standpoint. Why can't you have freaking... Nope. They'll have fights, but they're always going to have each other's back. I'm sorry, this is a couple. I'm not fond of breaking couples up for the sake of story. That's kind of dumb, in my opinion. I'm looking at you one more day. Yeah, I don't do that. If I have a couple, they're a couple. They're going to fight to stay together, and they're not going to drift apart. That's just how I write. And if you don't like that, oh well. I'm not here to write that type of friction. I'm here to... The friction of this team breaking apart, that's another story. There's Velissa Sinclair, who's a wolf that's learned how to become more bipedal. Now, she looks pretty human, except for she has red furry skin, very light fur, and pointed ears coming off the top of her head. Those are her wolf ears. Yeah, I know, it's kind of an anime nod to it, but she is a wolf. She is not human. She also has a bushy tail on her back. And there's Hazel. Hazel should also sound familiar if you've been paying attention to Freya. She's the jumper that refused to go to Usher and meet because Grimrose asked her to stick around to help her come up with new members for the team. And Hazel is my quintessential nod to the Dragoons, and you'll see she does use a lance. She uses wind magic. Pretty much all Dragoons are taught to use wind magic. That's how they get great height and can come back down on their enemies. It's kind of cool. There's a new member to the team, which is Ghost Comet. She comes from the depths of space. She was literally born in space from a nebula, and you'll get to learn a little bit more about her as time goes on. I've already introduced somebody else that's kind of like that, which is Bubblegum Croyer, but they are two different races, but they both literally are born in space. And you'll see I have a common motif that, yeah, I don't like the fact that everything is grounded on a planet and born on a planet. I deal with things that are a little bit more insubstantial. And lastly, there's Xylena, who is Grimm's sister. And the prologue that you got has a conversation between the two. And you'll find out, I'm not going to go into great detail about Xylena. She was also part of the Dark Elf military that protected the heart of the wood. But she was a scout. And I do say was. And that's a big hint as to what's going on. You'll find more about Xylena as the story goes on. I dare say you'll find out very close to the beginning what is exactly going on with Xylena. As far as story plot points go, you're dealing with the team is falling apart, and you're dealing with something between Grimrose and her sister that's very, very problematic. Something that Grimm is having a very hard time coming to terms with. And you'll understand that as we get closer and closer to the truth of the matter. Anyway, guys, that's it for me explaining who are the Walkers of the Storm. I hope you guys enjoyed the story, and I will see you guys in the near future. And stay tuned for today for a surprise video. See you soon.